Howdily ho, my hilarious head honchos. Sugar Pants here, and... Oh no. Hey there, Silent Sophie. What brings you by today? You got another movie for me? Am I even allowed to refuse this one? Fine. Let's get this over with. What do you got for me today? 1992's Seed People? Oh, I see. It's Full Moon Studios' version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Well, that doesn't sound too terrible. Okay, let's go to the theater. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, Seed People. It literally is just Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but with Charles Band's signature weird puppet monster fetish thrown in. So let's germinate that sleaze docket and see what kind of crop we can expect come harvest season. We have 5 dead bodies, 2 cups blood, 7 gallons alien plant goo, 0 naked breasts. Hero tells the movie after the story is over cliché. You have to listen to me cliché. Wacky, eccentric old coot cliché. Precocious teen cliché. Waterphone sound effects cliché. You know, this. 1 gigantic VHS video camera. Rolling alien plant attack POV. 1 truck smushin'. Face chewin'. Tentacle to the neck. 1 partial plant cocoonin'. 1 electrocution. 1 herbicide dowsin'. 1 shotgun blasted alien. Hatchet dismembered alien. 1 exploding truck. Hairy alien plant vaginas. Alien plant bukkake. Gooey human alien transformation. And crispity crunchity alien-y plant coating attack. Our movie begins with a 2-minute and 23-second long opening credit sequence that totally stole its music from Total Recall. Tom Hennings is in the hospital, desperately trying to get anyone to listen to him because the movie's already mostly over by the time we join in. He's visited by FBI agent Weems, who's there to get Sam's account of the events that took place in Comet Valley. So cue up the flashback narrative device and away we go. In the first 6 minutes of the movie, Sam makes sure to let us know 2 separate times there's only one way into Comet Valley. A bridge that just happens to be undergoing repairs for the next 3 days, so the whole town will be shut off from the rest of the world. He's arriving because he's been asked to give a presentation on the town's history, including the Native American cave paintings of a meteorite that crashed into the valley. So why the town isn't Meteorite Valley, I don't fucking know. And naturally, his visit is timed exactly when all sorts of spoopy shenanigans are taking place. Specifically, a very strange tree growing out in the orchard. A tree growing hairy, pulsing cream pies. Frank discovers this tree while turning on the orchard's irrigation system and decides the best thing to do is poke it with a stick. And what happens next? Well, there's simply no other way of saying it. The dude gets covered in cum. Covered in cum. The tree goes all fucking Peter North and saturates poor old Frank. The smoldering goo pile bursts open to reveal that Frank has transformed into a bulbous, hairy alien plant creature who can immediately transform back into human with 0 effort. But he's not the only one. Mrs. Santiago, the maid/babysitter at the local bed and breakfast, is also a nasty little beastie. And Kim, our sassy 90s teenager armed with gigantic fucking video camera, is out to prove she's possessed. And lastly, there's Ed, who gets completely pollinated and becomes an airborne bastard. Apparently. We technically don't see his complete transformation, but there's only 3 monsters, and that's the only one that's left. And honestly, that's about all that happens to separate this one from your standard Body Snatcher story. The plant monsters have the power to hypnotize humans into being their unthinking, emotionless slaves. Our college-educated hero is the only person who can save the town, but he teams up with the town's crazy conspiracy cliche, Doc, who spends most of the time wearing protective UV lights. Oh, that's right, folks. The alien plant creatures are sensitive to high doses of UVs. You know, the shit that's constantly bombarding our planet thanks to a little galactic entity known as the fucking sun. Maybe that's where M. Night Shyamalan got his idea for water-allergic aliens to take over a planet that's about 3/4 covered in the shit. So we get a by-the-book sci-fi horror movie that feels like a 90s take on a 50s sci-fi horror movie. Basically, this one doesn't even bother reinventing the wheel. It just adds some 90s schlock to what was already out there. And to me, that's what is most disappointing about this one. The whole movie has just been there, done that, with the exception of the little time our titular seed monsters have on screen. And even they feel like a throwback visual effect at times. Perhaps the only real thing Seed People does differently is make the zombification process reversible. At one point we find out that the 3 monsters have the ability to hug normal humans into a hypnotic trance that makes them part of the collective. But our heroes discover this trance can be broken with some high-powered UV lamps. So as long as the person isn't fully transformed, they can be saved pretty easily. Along the way we find out that the seed that grew into the pussy tree isn't the only one. In fact, the meteorite that crashed into the valley was actually a seed cone with hundreds of the bastards. But because Comet Valley's soil composition is terrible, it wasn't able to grow where it crashed a few hundred years prior. Apparently, the only reason the one tree did grow is because the crackpot Doc grew one in the good topsoil of the orchards, assuming it was a fossilized seed from prehistoric Earth. So once we get all the deets, we get a ridiculous plan involving UV lights. Doc ends up electrocuting himself to death to make sure the UV lights can be powered to save all the townsfolk, and we blow up a truck full of seeds before they can be shipped out of town. Thank God the aliens loaded up the seeds alongside explosive barrels. Tom jumps to safety and smacks his head on a particularly large rock and wakes up in the hospital where we joined in. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have a happy ending because we find out that the FBI agent is a pod person, or whatever they're called in this one, and he's been having Tom tell the story to make sure there aren't any loose threads. With Doc dead and everyone else under the plant whammy, Tom was literally the only human left with knowledge about the events. The movie fades to black. Tom screams, and we roll the credits. Naturally, one of my biggest chuckles with this movie is the fact that the whole thing is just Tom telling his eyewitness account to the FBI agent. Okay, fine. So why the fuck do we get scenes where Tom wasn't even involved? His story starts with his arrival in Comet Valley and ends with him knocking himself unconscious. So there's a lot of stuff he never had a chance to find out about. And even if he did, it would be hearsay anyway. Things like finding Deputy Frazier's dead body. There were no witnesses when he was killed by a couple of seed monsters, so why is Tom telling this aspect of the story? He would have had no way of knowing this. But even in situations where there were witnesses, at what point did he have time to chit-chat with said witness to get those details? He didn't. Granted, there's not a lot of this throughout the movie, but there's enough. Seed People isn't necessarily a bad movie, it just feels kind of pointless. Why bother watching this one when we already have a couple far superior Body Snatchers movies that came out long before this one? Either the 1956 original with Kevin McCarthy or the 1978 remake with Donald Sutherland would both be a much better use of your movie viewing time. Also, Seed People is kind of slow and dull for most of its runtime. It also suffers from taking itself too seriously. This one doesn't bother straying from the source material other than doing the full moon treatment of creepy little puppet monster thingies. While they do totally feel like a full moon creation, doing a standard Body Snatchers movie and slapping in a few scenes with them just doesn't feel right. I kind of wish they had gone full bore and made the movie more of their own. Maybe if Full Moon Studios had really knocked it out of the park, I'd have a different opinion. But they really didn't, so unfortunately this one falls into the only if I have nothing else to watch pile. Maybe Charles Band was going for a tribute movie or something, I really don't know. It's just a shame this one falls short in too many ways. Andrea Roth played the lackluster love interest Heidi and has gone on to do some things you might have seen her in. All 23 episodes of RoboCop the series, Crossworlds, War, The Collector, and 7 episodes of 13 Reasons Why. Our feisty teen Kim was played by Holly Fields, who has been in a few projects, but also gone on to a decent career in voice work. Communion, Wishmaster 2, Celebrity Deathmatch, several Shrek video games, Spider-Man 2 the video game, Superman Returns the video game, Hannah Montana the movie the video game, God of War 3, and Star Wars The Old Republic as Nadia Grell. And earlier I pointed out the title sequence song sounding an awful lot like Total Recall. Well, that's not the only thing that was borrowed from that movie. We also got Debbie Lee Carrington as the actress inside the Tumbler Monster. She was Thumbelina!
If you need any help with this one, give me a holler.
She's been in a lot of high-profile movies like Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, The Ewok Adventure, and The Battle for Endor, Invaders from Mars, Howard the Duck, Captain EO, Harry and the Hendersons, the Garbage Pail Kids movie, Space Invaders, Batman Returns, Mom and Dad Save the World, Men in Black, Mighty Joe Young, and The Polar Express. So that'll wrap up another troubled tape from the tomb. Oh, and Silent Sophie, nice try, but better luck next time. Oh, that can't be good. But until I greet you again for another awful allotment, this is your terrible trooper Sugar Pants. See you in your dreams.
Pick out your cereal and let's get going.
Coming! Oh no, that kid took the last box of Kellogg's Corn Pops. Stay calm. Sir, you're out of Corn Pops.
Liz, just pick something.
Pick something? I want my Corn Pops. Oh, I could be at home eating all the Pops I want, but I'm stuck in the woods on some stupid family vacation, and that little weasel took the last box. Ah!
Nice day.
Yes, I love the woods.
Kellogg's Corn Pops is part of this complete breakfast.
I gotta have my Pops.